So hi everyone, I'd like to take a few minutes and point out some of the maybe more important or useful information in Chapter 3 of the textbook. I saw that on our reading schedule, Chapter 3 and I believe Chapter 4 are on the schedule for week 2 of our class. But Chapter 3 is kind of an important one, and it's about selecting and defining a research problem. And as this course progresses, you'll be thinking more and more about an action research problem, action research question that you can collect some data on and conduct a research study on. So in this course, EDUC 506, we just sort of set the stage or get you started and teach you some of the nuts and bolts of educational research. In two later courses, 655 and 695, you will really go into detail and collect data and conduct a legitimate action research project. So, but trying to find a research question, something that's researchable, is a real challenge. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to be thinking about where you teach or the kids that you have access to work with. You'll want to reflect on what has worked well in your teaching, what are some of the challenges that you're experiencing with teaching. And so you may be drawing on personal experience. In trying to figure out what would be a good, action research question or questions, plural. And you may ultimately have two questions that guide your action research thesis in this master's program. One question will likely be a cognitive one. For example, something like the effect of computer-assisted mathematics instruction on kids' math achievement, a cognitive one or an achievement question. And you will also likely have an affective question, something like a perseverance question, something like a motivational question that connects to the cognitive one. Maybe the effect of computer-assisted math instruction on students, attitudes or dispositions or perseverance with solving math problems. So be thinking, as you're reading Chapter 3, be thinking about what it is that you'll likely do and things for a possible action research paper. So moving along, I'll jump to a table here, I think. This is kind of helpful. The next one, I think, right here. Okay, so this is I can't read the whole chapter for you. That would just be impossible to do on these little short videos that I'm trying to keep to 5 minutes or less. But try to think of a problem, as you're moving forward that's interesting. I actually thought that the problem with the Samantha Marshall paper, a sense of possibility, cultivating perseverance in an urban math classroom, was kind of interesting. I kind of like that paper. It's an important thing, perseverance in math. So I think it was interesting to Samantha Marshall, so be thinking about something that's interesting for you to do some research on. A good research question for you, for anybody, has to be researchable. It has to be doable, given the place where you work and the constraints of your job and things and the children who you're working with. It has to be researchable. You have to be able to collect some data in a certain time frame and make sense of it all, and has to be pretty tight. Significant, in action research, the research has to be significant for us, for you, for the school and where you work, and for your own teaching. It doesn't necessarily need to lead to, a new reformation in education. Just significant for you and your teaching and your growth as a teacher scholar. And you want your research to be ethical. There's a lot to this, and a major thing is that in this educational master's program here, we discourage our master's students from doing experimental research where they purposefully come up with a new teaching pedagogy and withhold it from one group of kids while providing it to another. That runs into some ethical problems. It's really not ethical to knowingly withhold an educational technique or pedagogy that you think will be successful from one group of kids and just give it to another. So as you read more action research papers, you'll discover that they tend to involve a teacher working with the students in his or her class and collecting data that is pretty ethical, hopefully very ethical. You'll still do IRB approvals and things like that. That's in 655, the next course, and things. And so this table is kind of helpful in helping you come up with a researchable, ethical, manageable research question. So as the course progresses, I want you to be thinking about this. It may, you may be able to apply some of what you're reading in Chapter 3 to any of the class tasks, to this one, which is due on Tuesday, May 29th. Again, this one involves, a synchronous meeting with a classmate. There may be some connections here. I realize that this task, the week 2 task, really gets us back into this Samantha Marshall paper and asks you to read the introduction and the literature review and respond to these prompts here. But at the same time, be thinking about, Samantha Marshall's action research question and one that you would like to be possibly formulating yourselves. Okay, so thank you very much and hope you enjoyed Chapter 3, and I look forward to reading your work on Tuesday, May 29th, for the first task of week 2. Okay, have a nice remainder to your holiday weekend. All right, bye.